Welcome back, my awesome people. Today, I am honored to be sitting here with Arloe Fontenot. He is the founder of Frontier Composites and inventor of the CHUB device, which is a breakthrough in non-peripheral neural communication and patient monitoring. And he is also a survivor of a catastrophic near-death experience. He channels his journey into pioneering innovations and redefine how consciousness and human well-being are tracked and protected. Now, you know, my audience members, I always bring on the best guests, the best wisdom, the best experts, and Arlo is one of them. So stay tuned to the end, and we are going to have a good ride of information and learning. Arlo, how are you doing today? Thank you for being with me. I know it's such a busy time.
I'm doing great, Jacob, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here and talk more about the CHUB and non-peripheral communication, which is the precursor to the CHUB. Yeah,
And,
and share some of my lived experience.
And you know, on this channel, we love hearing people's wisdom, expertise, whether it's from finance, business, innovation, medicine, health. We go off on a range of topics. So I'm very happy that you're here with me today. So Arlo, let's just get right into it. Can you tell us about yourself? What inspired you to found Frontier Composites and invent the Chubb device? And can you provide an overview of its mission, its purpose, and what does Frontier Composites actually do?
Well, a little bit about myself. I'm a Baton Rouge native. Go Tigers. Shaped by my maker's lineage. My father is a Vietnam era. Uh, I guess he worked in patents for munitions, right? So he didn't have to go into the trenches. My mother is an educator and a librarian, and my father came back to be a civil environmental engineer. Frontier Composites and the Chubb were originally born from a simple question. Okay, how do we protect life in real time? So the Chubb's mission is neural safety. And it's continuous, it's dignified monitoring that turns silent signals into actionable care. We're always giving off uh, frequencies, biofields. I'm not sure if you remember, maybe 6 or 7 years ago, people would say, "Oh, I just thought of that, and it showed up on my Facebook feed."
Oh, all
Okay,
the
fast
time, even
forward,
right now.
no doubt. And disclaimer: I don't work for Meta, but that technology, think about it. Think about how much it's advanced since then. So the premise of remote neural monitoring is here, but right now it's more near field communication. Uh, but what the Chubb is designed to do is offer cognitive help to patients under critical care or in unconscious states such as coma, end of life. Do we pull the plug? Uh, but it gives their neurologist or their caregivers real time feedback on what's going on the inside.
You know, I think as we're moving forward when it comes to technology, AI, and all of that, I think we're going to be better diagnose, better monitor our biological health. And I think the Chubb device definitely does that. So before we go dive deeper into the Chubb, can you take us back to your near death experience and share how it shaped your outlook on life and innovation?
Yes, so I brushed the edge of death, walked the line between life and death. And in that course, I watched time slow to intention because I'm busy, but it allowed me to just sit on my butt, not but lay in a hospital bed. And in that time, in that moment, it stripped away all the noise, right, and clarified my purpose. I got to peer behind the metaphorical curtain, and it clarified my purpose that this technology something was needed to listen to me while I couldn't communicate through normal means, uh, and not just through vital signs. And this is a personal example. My daughter and her mother, Mike's wife, they were in Houston, and I was here in Baton Rouge, and I wanted to let them know that I was okay. And it was to a point where I communicated with them through the ethers. And it was proven because when I was released and I got out and I was doing physical therapy, my daughter mentioned a number of things that she could only have known uh, during my stay. And and that came to light. It's like this already sort of exists, but on the unconscious, subconscious level. But me being the scientist, I was like, how do I put this in practical terms? Um, it may sound like Black Mirror or something akin to some other devices that are implants. Won't name them, but yeah, the near-death experience really opened my eyes by slowing down uh, the the already existing noise that we live in. It stripped that away, and it gave me insight into something that could not only help me, which it did, but help others.
You know, sometimes in life we really do need that pause, whether it comes from a good position, negative position, an ugly position. And unfortunately, I'm glad that you're good. I'm glad that you're safe and recovered, because, you know, as you said, right, it's a near death, right? That thin line, and unfortunately a lot of people don't make it, but I'm happy that you're here with us today and you invented the Chubb device. And so, was there a specific moment during your recovery that inspired the idea of the Chubb device? And can you just tell us exactly what the Chubb device does? Is it like an actual physical device, or is it more of a application or a technology format? What exactly is the Chubb device?
Well, it's a little bit of both. Um, the CHUB device is meant to detect subconscious and unconscious neural activity with high fidelity. And I'm not trying to get too technical, but it operates in a competitive healing environment with minimal interference. And I'll touch on mental privacy later and ethics. But it supports quantum resonant and frequency based communication. So one particle moves exactly opposite the other particle in time. Like I mentioned, myself and loved ones. But it's I guess integrated with a wearable low disruption form of a wearable, right? With continuous monitoring. Uh, my initial design was actually a larger device that, it's a two-part system. A larger device attaches to, either a part of your vertebrae in the back, medulla area, or it attaches to like your fingertips. Um, but that's already been upgraded. So I'm looking at integrating it into a smart glass framework because we want to focus more on the brain, using EEG and what's the other one? FNIRS, which is functional infrared neurovascular spectroscopy. So I'm trying to get that off the ground because it would be non-invasive. Uh, people are a bit scared or skeptical about certain things when it comes to technology and advancements. So with that, I think it would be a better application of it. Um, but to clarify, I guess the purpose would be uh, there's traditional monitors for cardiorespiratory endpoints. Um, the Chubb would add the brain to that. Oh, he has a pulse, but he's out. But the mind is still going. What's the clinical definition of death? If your grandparents are on that deathbed, or you have a loved one that was involved in a severe accident and they're in a coma or a vegetative state, how do we read their thoughts or what's going on in their mind? So the Chubb would offer that opportunity through transmission to dedicated device. If you can imagine going back to Meta, their Oculus uh, device, but we would be able to interpret what they're thinking and the type of pain they're in, but most importantly, their emotional state. Are they in pain? Are they depressed? Are they wanting to change their will? Something like that, but high fidelity. Um, but it would be non-invasive um, a neural safety device that fuses multimodal sensing. So we would use all the vital signs, and we'd have on-device AI. So it would adapt to conditions to interpret consciousness, like different levels of consciousness. Whether you know it or not, Jacob, every individual on Earth operates at a different level of consciousness. Uh, Children, for example, have a higher level of consciousness than a grown adult. Um, but we also want to reduce stress and mitigate risk in real time. Um, so this is the theory behind the application and the device.
I think that is, I would say, very well needed because I've heard a lot of stories. I've seen a lot of on obviously television and things like that where someone might be in a vegetated state or brain dead. People or family members are figuring out, should we pull it or should we not pull it? But I think with devices like the Chubb, you're able to get a much deeper understanding of the person's condition, even though that person may not be able to be verbally available to speak and talk about it. But if you're using a device where it can just get right to the horse's mouth and figure out what that person's going through, I think that will definitely elevate healthcare and medicine in general. How do you see the Chubb device integrating with existing hospital infrastructure? As you know, hospitals are very stubborn when it comes to change. They like to do things their way. But how does the Chubb device integrate with the already existing infrastructure?
Well, you're right. Hospitals are resistant to change, and it's a top-down kind of uh, political structure. But I think just by reading neural and hemodynamic cues, I guess, like using the traditional ways of monitoring a patient, care teams don't have to wait with this for outward symptoms. You know, the old adage, I first started college as pre-med, but the old adage is you treat symptoms. Uh, this would mitigate that. Kind of proactively, your brain will send a signal, this will pick it up. But it reframes healthcare from a reactive stabilization to proactive prevention and kind of a personalized intervention before it happens.
Uh, and so when you're looking at a device like the Chubb, as you said, there are other devices out there. However, the Chubb is a little bit, I would say, more detailed with its results. Other than that, what makes it different from other devices? Because as you know, technology is rapidly advancing, especially in healthcare and medicine. The Chubb is definitely one of them. But what sets it apart from other devices?
Um, Definitely the proactive prevention, right? Uh, you would wear the device. It'd be like glasses or possibly contact lenses. And even if, say, you had a heart condition or you had seizures, especially. Seizures are there's not much known about it, and seizures have been experienced by humans for millennia. But with this device, you would easily be able to predict that to where you wouldn't be behind the wheel and you experience a seizure and cause a wreck and damage. Um, but this integrates, I guess, non-peripherals neural signals. And peripheral, just for me to define it, means like a cellular phone. That's a peripheral smartwatch. You're communicating without these devices. Uh, the actual implant or the actual chub would be, I was shooting for 10 nanometers because Intel's 10 nanometer processor, they're producing that. And there's multiple transistors on that chip, and it's powering a lot of our phones. So at this size, and with the advent of Intel's technology, it's quite easy to use this nanite, is what I would call it, for a targeted system in the body. Where the issue would come in would be where it crosses the blood-brain barrier. And that is it calls, methylation. You have to put a methyl group on it. And I'm not quite sure where that would stand in the public eye or with the FDA or other regulatory bodies. So in our first when our in our newer model, as I mentioned, it would be integrated into glasses. So I lost vision in my left eye. It's not too bad the way it looks, but your the size of your glasses would actually be EEG, and they would run on similar to Bluetooth, which is radio waves. And then your power would be here, power pack, but your pituitary gland and also your hypothalamus are right behind your bridge. Well, that's what is affected by the algorithms that come off of your screen when you're rolling, reeling, and all like that through social media, as the activation occurs there. Um, so in order for the impact of non-peripheral communication to actually work, uh, it would have to detect these certain thresholds, right? Baseline and then drift. So if you have this person that's drifting toward delirium, right, or psychosis, or full-blown schizophrenia, well, we'd be able to catch that. But the threshold, the baseline is here in the middle. Or hypoxia or sedation misalignment, right? Your sleep cycle's off. Well, all of these factors, there's a number of human factors that the CHUB would be able to monitor, but all of these come from the brain. And faster recognition means earlier interventions, fewer complications, and better recovery arcs.
That is actually so cool. So, so I guess from my understanding is, you can have the Chubb device on, and it can even before something happens to you, it can kind of give you a signal or kind of a notification like, hey, this level is kind of going this way, going this way. Oh, that is actually so cool. So it's not only for when something's already happened. You can actually have it on before something happens, but it can kind of give you like a a check engine light when something's going the other way. Okay, that is actually really cool, Arlo.
Exactly.
So do you so how can healthcare use this technology to reduce stress from patients and families? I know we mentioned that earlier. Is it stress from not knowing? Is it stress from over preparing or under preparing? What is the stress that the CHUB device will alleviate?
I guess plain language status would be resting, engaged versus overloaded. Uh, Families could get a peace of mind from knowing that their loved one in vegetative state or in pain is resting. They're fine. But sometimes, oh, we're going to pull the plug. But no, the brain is stable. Uh, it's resting. And then there's other states of engaged. Okay, the brain is engaged, they're comatose. Um, and like you just mentioned, this could go for somebody walking on the street in New York. Are they engaged? Are they resting? Are they overloaded? After work. You know, but this is more so starting in the meta. But we can actually trend these visuals and reduce the uncertainty. Like in AI and machine learning, we learn univariate and multivariate linear regression to where you fit a line to all these data points. Well, that's similar to how this would go. And then secure sharing, because ethics, mental privacy is paramount in this. So secure sharing would keep the families informed as well as their caregiver without flooding them with all of these CSV raw data metrics. It's like a concise, I guess, report on their loved one. And you really don't have to be sick or immobilized to use this technology. In the coming years, it's going to be used for communication. Uh, I guess the best way I can put it is telepathy, but you would have to be on the same channel. And there's 160, this is declassified, there's 160 human channels that exist where we can communicate with one another without cell phones that use radio waves. And it's just getting those, it's getting to the point of just having the sender and the receiver and making it user friendly towards non-invasive and proven.
I think that I mean, as Elon Musk Neuralink, right? A few years ago, it was the talk of the town. I think just the past 2 weeks or so, the first two human Neuralink patients were implanted. And I think we're going in a direction where humans and technology can actually coexist. But also, as we mentioned earlier, it comes into privacy, data, confidentiality. How do we balance having something that can kind of, as you said, telepathetically read your mind to kind of conserving someone's privacy and data? How do we balance those two? Because it does cross, not cross, but it is on that line of ethics and morals.
Correct. You're exactly right. Um, privacy approach is basically privacy by design. It's built into it. Like I mentioned, those 160 channels, and these are just the ones that are known. Um,
And when you say
we would have to
channels, like,
have,
is it kind of like, is it, as you mentioned, like radio wave signals, like there's 160 different of them? Or can you talk more about these channels? Because this is really cool information.
it has more to do with our consciousness state, like alpha, beta, delta, and theta waves. So we have different parts of our brain that deal with like executive function, with autonomic stuff like breathing, uh, blinking our eyes, and whatnot. But our brain like depends on where we are in sleep. These certain waves are elicited by our brain. Have you ever wondered why in our dreams we never dream about a cell phone?
Yeah,
Uh,
that's a really good point. I actually have never seen a cell phone in my dreams.
yeah, rarely a television because these
Yeah.
waves, these don't exist. I mean, when you think about is the sun shining? Like, where does the light come from? Uh, but all of these things run on frequencies. Um, but more to the point, it's more so you'd have to do edge processing. So there's conscious and there's unconscious. So we'd have to get that, right before you fall asleep. What's the line there? And that's edge processing. And then with data privacy, it has to be minimum necessary data. I mean, you're not digging up, the ex-girlfriend and college stuff like that.
You're not going
We all
back
have
into
those
that
ways.
person's history.
Yeah, yeah, because you can get hacked. You have to think about it. Your brain can get hacked, and you can turn into a someone else's sentient um, criminal or something. It's not about a deep fake. They'll take over your whole, you know,
The whole
neural
identity.
network there. Yeah. Yeah.
And
So we have to
so,
have strict consent. Yeah. I
well,
mean,
see,
it's a real thing, Jacob.
it is a real thing, and honestly, I'm actually just sitting here listening and just in awe and shock that we've really come this far. Because I've heard about, so, like, 20, 30 years ago, everybody's talking about, people are going to be bionic style, where we're going to be half human, half machine. And I mean, now that we're kind of living in it, it's actually happening in real time and in 4K. So has the Chubb device Is it being used right now? Has it gone through all the clinical trials? What's the status of the CHUB device at the moment?
Well, my personal development, it's not, I'm still in the proof of concept. Uh, Phase zero is bench R&D. So I'm fielding basically VCPE to have similar R&D setups as Samsung per se, or facilities that can manufacture this device on such the small scale with the precision and the auditing that's needed, and also the regulatory hurdles, because this regulatory compliance hasn't been developed yet for this type. It would likely be the FCC as well. Um, but right now, it's we're in phase zero, and I'm pretty ambitious to where next month we can basically launch. And this will be like ASIC selection, and ASIC is just application specific integrated circuit. Like, how do we, this is the chip designed for this purpose. Uh, you know, a lot of times it goes into crypto mining or other medical devices, but it's faster and more efficient than a general purpose chip. So that's going to be a major hurdle uh, where I have to hire some pretty smart people to begin brainstorming on this. Phase one would be the EVT build. Like, that's the actual equipment, smart glasses, prototype, belt pack. The original design used the helmet and a backpack because I thought it would use so much power. But no, Nikola Tesla, a long time ago, realized that there's electricity, there's power in the air, in the ether is what he called it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we could use a belt pack or even use our own biofield, or a nearby power source such as Bluetooth. Bluetooth uses minimal power to transmit a radio wave about 30 feet, 10 meters. Um, and then we'd have to develop firmware. That's something I could do, but I'd rather have the pros do it. Then we would do a live lab pilot, and then a field pilot. How far can you go to communicate, like Neuralink? Then after that, clinical prep to see, do we give this to, can we use this in chimpanzees as a pill, as a capsule? But it has a nowhere to go. It has to cross the blood-brain barrier. And can that chimpanzee communicate with this other chimpanzee? I know it sounds real matrixy, but yeah, this is the process. And then we have to have an inhuman uh, pilot, which is probably, what's this, 24 or 5 years from now. And we would have forensic telemetry, basically. Um, I hate to say this, but it could be used on criminals or people that are accused of crimes. Oh, I didn't do it. But then, the imprints in your mind, the neural connection was made if you unalive this person or not, right? And then we have to have validation process. So that's where the defense and the forensics part of it comes in, but that's down the road.
And you know what? I am highly looking forward to that. I mean, 4 or 5 years, that's just around the corner, especially when it comes to technological advancements. I mean, the way things are going, I mean, who knew that we were going to have, spaceships going to Mars 20 years ago? We were still thinking about the moon, not just different planets. So I'm very happy that you guys are making the progress that you're making because, AI is taking over every sector. And so, what role does AI play in the CHUB device? Ability to interpret data. Because I know most companies, whether it's healthcare, medicine, industrials, whatever company it is, they're using AI to get rid of the tedious work, right? The data analysis, looking through financial records, all that boring stuff that might take days and hours for a human to do. But what role does AI play with the CHUB's device?
Well, very good question. AI can confuse signals. So you might have various signals, like just like the interplay, this synastry between EKG and the CHUB, but it would denoise artifacts in the brain. Okay, so this person's feeling depressed. Well, why? Oh, they lost their wife or their husband not too long ago. So it's denoising those artifacts, cleaning them up, and then it outputs like these interpretable diagnoses and probabilities with confidence, but boundaries, right? Um, but it also augments like clinicians with the right context, but not necessarily solutions or conclusions. Those must remain human. Now, some of the misconceptions about AI monitoring, and I'll just call it that, is and this is one of the biggest myths, is that more data equals better care. No, that's not true. And AI replaces our judgment if the CHUB is used. No, the AI wouldn't replace your judgment. You would be conscious of it, but if I can get a phantom testing approved, you wouldn't even know. Uh, because people would consciously start altering their themselves and lose themselves basically, and we don't want that to happen. But in reality, features beat more data. So the features of the device would be the selling point over, oh, this produces more data. And clinicians, doctors, caregivers would remain the decision makers. Um, Now, the conversion of neuroscience with AI and energy. Uh, Neural insight basically guides human performance, like the way our brain, the condition it's in, our emotional state, it governs our performance on the field. You go out there to play a game, NFL, you get ready. So your adrenaline peaks and your cortisol goes down, those types of things. But AI will basically operationalize these things, but efficient power uh, has to be mobile and safe in order to make the device and the interface work and with the end user. And together, I think they will reshape health and defense readiness and also space uh, and high stakes logistics. We could instantly communicate with, I don't know what they would call them when they land on Mars, not astronauts anymore, but
I think they're called
they could communicate
Martians.
back. I know, right? Martianauts. Um,
Martianauts.
it's like, what do we call them? But they would be able to communicate. Like Matt Damon would be able to say, "Hey, I'm down here. Remember that movie?"
Yeah,
Uh, Even
the
if the radio's
Martian.
dead, right? The Martian. I don't know, that came to mind. But it would improve that. Uh, but I'm just not quite sure how the frequencies would react in a far Earth environment.
That would
If they
be
would actually be able, yeah,
that would be the next
that's down the road.
frontier.
Frontier Composites.
No, that's the best. And I think when it comes to AI, we have to utilize it because this is it's kind of like the dot-com bubble back in the 2000s where we didn't know where the internet was going to take us, but look at where it has taken us. So I think when it comes to AI, everyone's using it for whatever they're using it for, but I think down the line it'll be more of concise targets of what AI can be actually used for and how it can actually help us. And so, what does it mean to engineer not just for survival, but for human dignity?
Good question. I guess the design as if the patient is conscious, right? Um, we have to design this as if the patient is conscious and listening to what's going on in their subconscious, um, and they're conscious of it. Uh, and that would give them a sense of dignity and ownership of their own emotional states and their own internal regulation. Um, because most people aren't. They're asleep at the wheel. So this will maybe open up that aspect of human psychology and physiology. But the actual dignity would mean more accuracy, definitely informed consent, comfort, and the right language that supports the patient and their loved ones, and not be ashamed of maybe something that the chub finds out, like, oh, did you know you had a tumor that's this big that could grow into something the size of a baseball, and the chub detected it, and we can perform what needs to be performed to extend your life.
I think that is very crucial, and I'm highly looking forward to what the CHUB device can provide once it comes out, because it is very stressful. It is kind of inhumane to just not look out for our human friends, right? By advancing technology using AI, we are able to increase the longevity of humans, our loved ones. And to my next point, can this device be used in other sectors? Can it also maybe even one day be used on pets? Because I know a lot of people consider their pets to be family members, and sometimes dogs and cats and animals can't really talk to us unless by then they invent a translator. But can the CHUB device maybe eventually work with animals?
Yes, yes, good question. This was asked last night, actually, over dinner. Friend of mine, she wanted to know what her cat was thinking, and I said, well, everybody has these theories. We have a better understanding of what a dog thinks. I have a dog, and there's a special training where they can pick up like 100 words. But if we can tune this device, and it'll likely go into to testing on animals. I mentioned primates, but uh, I believe in time it could decode languages that are native to our sphere, which is the Earth. Just as I believe AI would be our representative if and when extraterrestrials show up. They would be the ones. AI would be the ones to do the talking for us. It wouldn't be some senator or Nobel Prize winner. No, we would, and this is my opinion, we would use an AI to actually communicate and translate. Uh, so to say, can it be used in pets? Most definitely. I think it would be an upgrade. It wouldn't turn the cat or dog into a cyborg or cybernetic organism, but it'd be kind of cool to know what they're thinking. Like, I don't like this food. I need one of
Yeah.
all.
Stop giving me the kibbles and bits.
Yeah, give me a fancy feast.
That is actually so cool. And I think that when it comes to the pet sector, I think it will be a big hit. Because, I mean, I'm sure there are millions of pet owners who are just trying to figure out what is my pet trying to tell me, or what is my pet thinking, or, oh my gosh, my pet got injured. I wonder exactly where, or it might even reduce vet visits, right? Going to the veterinarian, because you can identify it in your own home, or you can identify it without having to pay big bucks for a vet to check out your pet. But I think that is actually going to be such a cool concept, and it's going to be spread pretty much globally, in my opinion. And of course, this technology is still very new when it comes to technology and human biology. But what sectors or industries do you think you need to be partnered with that will create a mass adoption of this technology?
Well, I hate to say it's going to nearly eliminate the mobile phone industry. We're going to move to non-peripheral. We're going to move to these smart glasses first. That's coming. But built into these smart glasses will be, I guess, augmented reality um, landscapes and environments. Instead of FaceTime, you would basically enter the space of the one you're talking with. Similar to Star Wars, where Luke would go seek advice and Obi-Wan would come up and talk
Kind
to
of like
him.
a holograph, yeah.
Right. That's we see that in the movies, but that's definitely something that this could be applied to. It would need a lot more power and different devices on each end, but that would be a start. But definitely the defense industry. My brother's is in the army; he's retired. But communication between, say, Missouri to Baghdad, it would have to be instantaneous and secure and encrypted. And communication from the ground to astronauts. Oh, we lost communication, especially when they wrap around the dark side of the moon. Uh, well, we're getting signal back, or we're getting, we have a whole paragraph of their status right now. Subsea. I did 20 years in oil and gas. Well, when you go anchor those platforms, you really can't communicate below probably 2,500 feet. Even though sound travels twice as fast in water, that's about it. Radio waves don't travel in water. So by using, an internal chub, your body, they could sense, okay, this person's running out of oxygen. Their blood nitrogen level is too high. It's time for them to come up. But they can also give you a live feed on the status of a job that they're working on down there. Um, so
No, I
yeah, I
mean,
mean the Navy. Uh, yeah.
no, like exactly as you said. I'm actually just picturing all the uses, right? Like you going scuba diving, you're able to check your oxygen levels. You are, say for example, even just a firefighter, because I'm sure it can help out with so many careers. Like a firefighter going into a burning building, how much oxygen do I have left? Can I get out in time? So I think this is actually kind of like, like Minority Report, kind of like instead of the thought police, it's just more of your thoughts, but you are able to control what happens next because of the information that was gathered. I think that is incredible. And so, Arlo, do you think that in the next, say, 5 years, 10 years, Neuralink will be more widespread, more adopted? Because I know a lot of people fear it. Like, even myself, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, when Elon came out with the Neuralink, the first thing I said was like, yeah, I'm not getting a chip in my brain. But then as time goes on, you start realizing that, okay, technically there's a chip in your brain, but all the uses that can be happening with it is just astronomical. Yeah, so do you think it's going to be something that people are going to start being comfortable with, or is it going to take a lot of education and people getting used to, okay, the idea of there's a chip in my brain?
Um, well, I can't really remark on that company's device, but it is invasive, and it takes a surgical procedure to put it in. With the chub, there would be no surgery involved. There would be no invasiveness involved. You would take it as basically a pharmaceutical. Um, that's why I would. That's why in college I was interested in biochemistry. I was fascinated by how do chemicals know, or medicine know, where to go. It's like they're going through this winding tunnel like a rifle bullet, and they're hitting the sides, and hopefully a little piece makes it to its target. Well, that's similar to how the chub's going to work. It's going to have to, it's orally administered, or like I said, either on the fingertips or through the smart glasses, which are easily removed. And this just reads your brain activity. And for children, or for compromised populations like the elderly, you of course wouldn't put an EEG that closer to their heads, but we would also have shielding for EMR and like that, which modern day peripherals don't have. You put that phone next to your head, it's a microwave, uh, a tiny little microwave. Um, but to answer your question, neural safety and mental privacy are the new frontier, and this is, we're running out of jobs. We're running out of, I guess, industries nowadays. Uh, but as a whole, we're still connected as humans on this earth. Like whoever built the pyramids in Egypt communicated with the people in South America. They had to. They didn't have phones. But from ICUs to homes, like every day, the CHUB will become, I guess, the standard. This is my like short-term vision, but it'll be like the standard layer for translating silent brain states into like timely, appropriate conversations, uh, and that you normally wouldn't have because there's this conscious block. So it would help with relationships. Uh, your dog could wake you up by communicating with you. I need to go out to go potty, right? Your daughter or your son or your child their levels would spike, and you could know that there's a school shooter or something going on, based on hormonal or biochemical levels going up, right? But it's just your child. You wouldn't be tuned in to anybody else's child. That's where the ethics and mental privacy comes in. And it's with that being said, it's actually augmented. The frequency is augmented because of that familial link. Um, so it's emerging, but it's there.
I think it's
It's
incredible,
there.
honestly. Like, as you just mentioned, like your child's at school, something's going on. You get a, you know, little Nancy, her heart rate just went through the roof, and you're able to say, oh my gosh, something is happening. What is going on? Is she being bullied? Is there a school shooting? What is going on? I think that's incredible. Like, that is some incredible technology. And Arlo, you've given us some amazing wisdom and expertise in this field that I personally have no clue about, but I am so happy that you've been on the channel to give us this behind the scenes insight, because this is the future. It really is the future. And so, Arlo, on this channel, we do have a small segment where we ask out of the box questions. Are you up for it?
Sure. Sure.
All right. So, first question. If Frontier Composites was a person, what kind of personality would it have?
What kind of person would it have? I mean, what kind of personality would it have?
Yeah.
It would be that teacher at school that teaches you social studies, science, and PE and health at the same time.
So, you get a
Uh,
little bit of everything.
yeah, a little bit of everything. He's fit, but he's smart. Uh, Handsome guy, and you can come to him for whatever is bothering you, and he'll make you feel good, confident, especially these young boys, you know, give you some confidence, answer your questions about life.
Like being a good
And
mentor, role model, stuff like that.
yeah, so
Uh,
his name would be shoot, um, call him Paul.
Question number two. What's the most random app that you've downloaded in the past or currently have? Like some people have a sunset app, some have a meditation app. What's the most random app that you have?
Good question. It was that quiet your brain frequency, like 832
Oh,
hertz. Uh, uh, and it's actually good. Like they're 832 is where most radio frequencies reside in. Wi-Fi is around 2.4 gigahertz. Yeah, giga to 5 gigahertz. But yeah, that I forget what it was called. I still have it. But it
oh
helps you
no,
fall asleep. It helps your brain like un
unwind from the
un
day, and
yeah, to relax.
that's good. So it's called 832.
I forget what it's called.
I'll look it up. I'll
Not
put it in the
often.
description box. But that's actually really cool, just to kind of like unwind after a crazy day and just kind of relax yourself. So question number three: if you were not in, for example, engineering, entrepreneurship, inventing, what totally unrelated career would you have gone into?
Well, environmental, which I spent some time in, but uh, basically returning the environment to the way it was before humans started getting involved, uh,
Ah,
using using the tech now, because people don't realize the amount of natural inputs these data centers are using, air and water and electricity. So I would be strictly involved, and I did start a foundation, but basically restoring the environment to, especially air and water, to its natural state. So my foundation is called Verdant Current. Uh, I tell my little girl, I'm going to be here for a long time, but I'm not going to be here forever. So the world, I don't want it to be like dystopian, fallout everywhere, and
I
you
know.
can't drink the water,
Terminator style.
stuff like that. Yeah. So I would be doing that more so, not pro bono, but with the right people backing it. Because the tech is there.
It
I
just
worked
needs to be
on
utilized.
It needs to be utilized. We're getting used to this PFAS, right? I was working on PFAS maybe 3 years ago, and PFAS is basically rocket coatings. Like
Mm.
we would coat rockets to go in space, because once you get up there, there has to be a heat tolerance, and the closest thing I can compare it to is Teflon on your pan. The heat goes sky high, and then it goes back to normal, and it's nonstick. But
Mm.
that's PFAS, polyfluoroalkyl substances. But that gets in the water and it doesn't go away ever. And eventually, over time, it's going to be ubiquitous. And I would like to develop something to clean the water, because we used to fight wars over oil, not anymore. I don't know. We're fighting wars over TikTok or something. We're going to fight wars over water.
Oh,
People don't understand
100%.
that.
A lot of these CEOs, like especially Nestle, they said that water is not a human right. That water needs to be there has to be a price on water. And so once I heard that, that's when I knew that the future wars will not be, as you said, right? It's not going to be over oil. It's literally going to be over water. And humans, we need water. Every living thing needs water. So if it becomes monopolized, I mean, then what? Then it's going to be
Exactly.
a big problem for pretty much all of humanity and the animal world and the plant world. But yeah, that's a really good point. So Arlo, before we end off this interview, what is your like? Where do you see Composites in the next 3 to 5 years, and what is your long term vision for the Chubb device?
Well, 3 to 5. I mentioned that short-term timeline, but I want to, and I have it right here, uh, develop a clinically validated platform as part of the company. That's our meat and potatoes. But with multi-indication offerings, like we mentioned, like all of these different applications, um, and international deployments, to help others, especially in underserved areas that need to adapt to the digital age. Uh, but definitely a prayer and faith-based um, outcomes, because people are going to think, oh, this is the mark of the beast or something. So we have to keep that in mind, that this is God gives us the tools, but we have to just use the tools correctly. Here's a knife. Don't go kill somebody. You're going to cut something to eat. Um, but also want to partner with ecosystems, you know, to renew the water, like the data centers that are using, and the electricity, because their needs are going to outweigh humans, and electricity is going to get sold to them, not to humans anymore, real soon. Um, but also build these relationships with hospitals, academia, and mission critical industries such as space and the defense. Um, it's a lot going on in the world of defense right now, and I think Frontier Composites can offer a lot. in that arena.
I personally think,
But over the next 50 years, I'll be
yeah.
land.
No, sorry, 50 years.
Yeah,
Sorry,
that's
continue. Sorry about that.
no, you're quite all right. 50-year plan, I guess, would be the next 5 decades. I plan to scale Frontier Composites into a global leader. Okay, an AI integrated neural infrastructure. Like it's going to be a global grid, and we'll be able to tune in to certain others, but they would have to be on the same resonant frequency. Just don't tune into, you see like a stupid prank on your reel. No, that's waste of brain space and time. Not downing those guys because they serve a purpose. So I want to integrate. I want to build this AI integrated neural infrastructure, and not the artificial neural network. Uh, and with the foundation neural vertic current, I want to become the cornerstone for emotional safety. So people that have developed these digital psychoses, I guess, or where the CHUB has found these anomalies in their systems, and even natural disasters. Like I don't know if you heard about what happened in Texas,
Oh
where all those
no.
people were killed by. Oh man, this flood just happened in a very arid area.
Oh, was it the one that
Like
happened
80
maybe
foot.
a couple months ago?
Correct.
Oh yes, it was so disastrous.
Yeah. Those people need emotional safety, but the CHUB, we would be able to know where those kids are, where the survivors are. If they have the device and their family members, oh, they're here. It's not like a microchip on your dog, but we would actually be able to know if they're alive or not and where they are. But I also want to introduce educational equity. Like, I don't want to just keep this information, gatekeep, um, because it has to be passed on. So start getting these kids, like maybe high school, and then a major in college as part of an offshoot on computer science, computer engineering, and but through like my own precision, my own precise leadership, form a board through nonprofit, because that's the philanthropy outreach part. But I would need people, staff, to do the forensic architecture, to where it's guarded, to where the privacy is there, the ethics, and deploy capital in the right way to advance this brain computer interface uh, protocol. And like I said, drive it into a disaster response or other milestone driven technologies like the future.
I am absolutely, the more you're talking, the more it's convincing me that this is actually some amazing technology. I mean, every disaster, every possibility where humans' lives are at stake, I think this device can definitely make a massive impact, especially since it is non-invasive, right? It's not the mark of the
Right.
beast. You're not going to get chipped. You're not going to be under the new world order and all of that stuff. So it's good that it's non-invasive. I love the glasses idea because I think Meta just came out with their newest, latest, where you can actually use it as a smartphone. I think what you're doing is amazing. The future looks very bright for yourself, the Chubb device, and I think AI and technology in this space overall. So Arlo, thank you so much for the amazing conversation, wisdom, and expertise on this subject because I am very new to this subject, and I'm sure many of my audience members are in awe and in shock right now of how amazing this technology is. And remember, my audience members, I will have all of Arlo's information and the Chubb device information in the description box. So please make sure you check it out. And Arlo, we are definitely going to have you on this channel again because we would love to see the journey, see how far it's come. And hopefully, in the very very near future you get some government contracts where it can start, saving lives, whether it's in a disaster or in the medical sector or defense sector, wherever it is, because I think this is definitely something that us humans, I mean, we're curious beings, and by knowing something before it happens, it can definitely prepare us for the good, the bad, and the ugly. So thank you so much for that, Arlo. Audience, you know I always bring you the best guests. I always bring you the freshest information because the world is, as you can see, it's kind of weird right now, right? We got global conflict, macro, micro. So every type of technology that can help humanity, that is the way we want it to go. So Arlo, thank you for being here with me today. I know it's been such a busy year for the both of us. Is there any last mentions that you want to put out there? Any significant events coming up? Maybe a conference or a convention that maybe people can check you guys out?
I'm looking at it's the Chin Institute for Accelerated AI Research. So I've submitted some proposals to them. It's not for the prize, but it's for the exposure, I guess, just to get on the international, platform on the international level. And there's a lot of talent overseas. It's not just here stateside, and just get the word out.
100%. And you know what? It will get the word out because uh, I'm usually pushing amazing products, pushing amazing people, and pushing amazing ideas. So my viewers, they're pretty proactive. So hopefully one of my viewers out there can do whatever they can to help Chubb get out there a lot more to the international community. So Arlo, again, thank you so much. My viewers, please make sure you like and you subscribe. And as I said, I'll have all of Arlo's information and Frontier Composites information in the description box. So please check them out. And remember, my awesome people, always do your due diligence. And until the next time, stay ranting.